There we are.
What's up, man?
Easy. How are you guys?
I'm good. How are you?
I just decided to sneak a workout in right before this little session. Terrible idea.
No, that's
Terrible
horrible.
idea.
Well, you look great.
What was I thinking?
Body's looking on point, man. It's pretty fired
I'm
up.
going to disrobe in a second. We'll show you the results of the.
I can't wait.
Listen, I just got to check you out. It's okay.
How are you guys? Brian, is that a haircut? Is that a new haircut I'm seeing?
It is, Jared. Thank you so much.
Wow.
He got rid of the little trailer park curls that he had going on.
My mullet that I have rocking,
It was a thing of beauty. It was a thing of beauty.
You know, it was good for like a 1700 like Revolutionary War style if we pulled it back to a low pony or something. But
right.
Yeah.
You know, would have been perfect. But here we are in 2021.
Yeah,
I guess.
Thanks everyone for joining. My name is Jerry Topitzer. I am the creator of the series UPCODE, comedy series about a brilliant doctor who is battling his evil insurance company who is cratering his practice. And so he has to decide whether to commit medical fraud in order to save his practice. And his practice is not just him, but two key members of his staff, which is Dr. Trudy, played by Emily Chastain, and
oh gosh,
it's already happening, and Nurse Cal, played by Brian Dole. So I wanted to have you guys join us because you two are the linchpin of the Dr. Fritz practice and basically starring players in our series, in our comedy series. So welcome everyone.
Thanks for having us, Jerry.
Yeah.
Excited to have you. For those that don't know, we had kind of started putting this whole thing together a couple of years back. We originally made a short film about it, and then a small production company said, "Hey, you should turn this into a series," and we did. And so the three of us and Cameron Crowe, who plays the kind of hapless Nate Chambers, who's a patient who wanders into this crazy practice at the worst time. The four of us as actors got together and kind of worked the script. We were the ones who originally rehearsed the script, worked it over and over and over again. And so Emily and Brian are just key collaborators of mine. So I couldn't be happier to have them with me today.
Thank you.
So everyone's probably seen a bunch of promos about Dr. Fritz, but maybe Brian or Emily, one of you guys could talk about your characters, either Dr. Trudy or Nurse Cal.
Yeah, so I kind of pushed my way into this. Originally in the short, it was all men. I was like, hey, Jared, do you want to put maybe a female in there, preferably me?
And I was like, oh yeah, females, right.
I was like, that could help add to the comedy a little bit. Maybe thought about not be so selfish and add a female in. Kidding. But Trudy started as this type of like bombshell type-esque character walking in and, the object of the men in the room.
Right.
And really quickly we learned that could have a little more depth. So we kind of pivoted, which was great because I'm super excited to see kind of where Trudy goes. But in the series, she's the know-it-all to a point, but kind of like the girl that just really wants to be taken seriously in the world of men. So I'm really fighting to be like have the title of doctor and not nurse when I walk into a room. Yeah. And she's really smart, which is amazing. And she's not just like pretty. That comes secondary. So Trudy's gonna have a lot more opportunities to go further, and we'll see a lot of layers. At first, you see a little bit of the more stern business side, but that will quickly kind of change pretty quickly on.
No, Trudy's so key to the practice because she quickly becomes the voice of reason in the room. Well, a lot of bumbling men are kind of like, duh, what do we do? But anyway, but it's this is one of the lessons learned about bringing a female perspective into the collaboration and writing process. Usually, almost always, it's a good thing.
Yeah. No, you did really well. It was, I feel like there's sometimes not just men, but sometimes what happens is there's this, the stereotypical, let's throw a woman in and let's just put her in there to put her in there and not really give her any type of strength and everything. But I think you did really well with you and Greg, the other writer that kind of collaborated with giving her some authority and actually making her a smart, capable human.
Right.
And making her kind of outsmart the men in the room, which is so fun and so nice and so unique and not often that you see in scripts written by men, unfortunately.
Yes. Well, and you do it brilliantly, and I can't wait for people to see you in it because you're awesome.
You're fantastic.
And
no.
And so Dr. Trudy and Nurse Cal have a little bit of a rivalry. It's just a tiny bit of a rivalry. And it's a professional rivalry, but they're kind of trying to one up each other, and they each have their strengths. So yeah, Brian, why don't you talk a little bit about Nurse Cal?
So Nurse Cal is he wants everybody to feel welcome. He is the face. Well, I wouldn't say face of the
No, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like I come in and I greet, just so everybody knows, a nurse practitioner can do just about everything a doctor can do, except for read your test results, right? So I am smart in my own right. I am a very hard worker. I am diligent, and I want people to be comfortable and happy when they come in the Fritz practice. So Cal on the surface seems like he's always a step behind, maybe trying to catch up, but I think he's really smart deep down, and he cares for people, and he cares about the practice, and he wants good from everybody. Yeah. So
but you are so people smart. That's the beauty in which we get to see beautifully that you just connect to the people, whereas that is where Trudy struggles a little bit.
Right.
And so I think it'll be nice to, like you're saying, the rivalry, like kind of playing off of each other's strengths, but also like it quickly highlights each other's weaknesses really, really quickly, which is fun to play.
Yeah. Cal is kind of the beating heart of the practice.
Yeah.
He's the open soul of the practice, right?
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, and then and Trudy just looks a little mean at times because
Trudy's
it's like kicking a puppy dog.
Well, but she gets the message. She knows what has to be done, and she's like, guys, let's get this going. So, but yeah, no, it's so fun to see you guys, in a rivalry, especially since, as folks can tell, you're actually not rivals.
Jerry, what are you saying?
That
Are
wasn't
you
planned.
saying we live together or something?
I didn't want to, be the one to, do the reveal. I was trying to tee it up.
Been dating for we don't know how many years. A while.
Somewhere around 6-ish.
Yeah.
No idea.
But I
So
think
it was so fun to see you guys. Yeah, so fun to see you guys play rivals, knowing that you're obviously together, and so seeing that see you guys play total opposites and fight it out in the room was a joy for me. Just knowing you guys. And
a lot of fun for us to be able to work together and do that, because obviously everything is so peachy and we never have any tips about anything. Right. So like to really hone that in the medical practice was wonderful and fun.
And so we started all working together on the short. I mean, this is almost 3 years ago, right? We were first the original short, which was different, right? As as Emily was saying, it was really almost kind of like a sketch, right? That we filmed. Yeah. It was based on this very embarrassing experience that Cameron, again, who plays Nate Chambers, had at the doctor. And he came to me and, told me this crazy story. And I immediately was like, okay, that sounds horrifically traumatic, but also hilarious. So let's write it. Let's use your trauma for comedy.
Give it to the world.
That's right. And so started to write it. And the four of us, soon to be four of us, got in a room, and we took that script and we'd read it. We'd do a reading. We'd improvise off of it. Then we'd, rewrite it, bring it back in.
Yep.
Those are the police coming for me, I guess. I don't know. There's this, life imitating art coming after Dr. Fritz committing medical fraud. but just that process of writing, improvising, and playing in a in a rehearsal room, in a dark rehearsal room in Midtown Manhattan, for me was just so much fun because I had three very talented, funny, excellent actors all there, and you two and Cameron. And
Right.
I don't know how you guys felt, but I was having a ball even in the rehearsal space.
Oh, it was so much fun. And it was so nice to like be able to like try different things and be like, okay, this did not work at all. And then let's like reset. But I feel like we really quickly, we almost had so much material that when we shot the short, we were like, it took so long because we were like, there's so many things that could happen here.
Right.
Which is why you brilliantly were like, let's make this into, expand it and make it way more, because there is just so much, especially with healthcare stuff, that like just the crazy stories that happen.
Right.
We were all kind of tossing around that like really quickly that we're like, we've all been in like weird situations, and I'd be like, everybody can kind of relate when you go in and you might try out a new doctor or try to go to where your healthcare actually takes, or that takes your healthcare, which is sometimes traumatic, and especially in New York, which is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, have you guys ever had like crazy experiences either with I mean, they don't have to be comedic, but like crazy experiences at the doctor that you're willing to share, or like with insurance companies, have stuff like that happened to you guys?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if contradictory is the word, but like I'm a bartender as a survival job, and we had health insurance, and then the pandemic came, and it's kind of crazy in the United States. I think that's why this pilot and show is so spot on, just showing how absurd the medical insurance business is, because it's a business. That's it. It's not out looking to help people. It's how do they make money.
Right.
And I can go off all over here if you really want me to, but it's like,
yeah,
I understand it. I understand the point of insurance, but at the same time, how do you live in New York, have a not $1 million job, and be able to be like, oh, okay, I can pay for this? You can't.
right.
And then what happens, So I haven't had crazy experiences recently that I can go off of, just because I haven't been to the doctor too often,
Well, but that says a lot, right? It's like,
Yeah.
so many people are in the same position where it's like they can't get health insurance, or I mean, so myself, at one point, right around when my wife was, I think she was just pregnant, we like for a period, like our health insurance lapsed, and it was like trying to get it back on when she was pregnant was insane. It was just insane, crazy.
They're like, oh, you have a baby coming? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, they're like, no, yeah, that's too risky.
Maybe look it up on Google or WebMD and see what's going on.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
I accidentally, missed the re-upping phase. So then I was in between coverage, and they made me kind of pick it was a bizarre one. I don't know, but I finally like needed to get a physical in order to go to anywhere else. I was like trying to get like glasses and for nighttime, since we're all getting old. And they made me go to my random doctor, and I walk in and everyone speaks Spanish, and I was a little tan at the moment, so fair, but they were just speaking to me in straight Spanish. I mean, I have some basic high school Spanish knowledge, so I tried for a minute, and then I was like, I'm so sorry, is this what's happening in the room, because I cannot keep this up. I was like, is there an English speaking doctor here, just so I can know what's happening? And they're like, oh yeah. But the place was scary. It was like they walked me down this hallway, and it was like all wood paneling. And I was looking around, and I was like, okay, this is not where I want to get any. And they're like, we're going to do blood. And I was like, is that normal for this? I just felt so, I was like, I thought they were like stealing my blood. I just like got really, really weird really quickly. And then I ended up just like leaving. I just left mid appointment. I was like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. It's like there was a time when, same idea. We'd switched insurance plans, and then we couldn't find a doctor who would take our plan. So it was like, so you have insurance, but there's no doctor that wants to see you. So good luck. It's like, what do you do?
What am I paying for?
Yeah, exactly. And then even back when I worked, at a big corporate firm that had supposedly really good insurance, we had this massive deductible that like you know, we were paying crazy amounts of money every month for the insurance, but then if we went to the doctor, we had like a $5,000 deductible on top of it. So like, what are we doing? Anyway,
Yeah.
we could go on.
I don't know. That's the thing. Anybody like watching or joining or whatever, like, I don't know if anybody else has that experience. Like, I'm sure a lot of people, well, there's lots of people that work in the healthcare field, but like, just insurance. Does anybody else have that
Brian's
conundrum?
asking the
Seriously?
world.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. Every time I talk about the series and to other people and explain to them what it's about. That, you know, it's about a doctor who's, you know, really fighting against this big, evil, powerful insurance company. Oh, Haley Swart says yes. Amy saying yes. Everyone says yeah. Every time we talk about it, everybody like, oh my God, you got to hear this story. And everyone has a story, like you were saying, about the battles that we have.
But then to flip it on its head and put it from Dr. Fritz's perspective, you know, a doctor who's trying to run, you know, a true, I don't know,
family practice is smaller and doesn't have, you know, all the patients that are coming in compared to these big companies.
Right.
And then
you kind of understand both sides of it. You understand the upcoding, but at the same time,
what the heck?
Yeah, but upcoding
well, exactly. Yeah.
So long to understand. I mean, I'm still like halfway there, but
yeah.
But well, and, you know, I have a little pain in my ear. Okay, well, let's check your ear. Okay, now we got to get you an MRI because something might be going on in your brain. Right. That's the upcoding level. Is like you go in with a little earache. Well, okay, we need to do a procedure, get some wax out. Well, there's nothing in there. A pretty clean person.
Right.
Well, we just got to do it anyway. So boom, let's put it up to a code 2. And then it's like, oh boy, MRI, because there might be some in there.
Right.
3. Well, you never know what bugs are in there. So let's go to a 5. And then you're getting charged out the butt. And it's crazy. And then you end up paying for all this money that you didn't even need.
Yeah.
And it's
well, and that's why it's, I mean, I think we've all had an experience as patients, but as I started to, you guys, as I started to do research on, you know, back when we were doing the short, I was doing research into the doctor in that thing. This is somebody, Zocare, the healthcare industry is a scam, intentionally confusing. I say this as a healthcare professional. Well, this is the other thing. This is exactly what I was about to say. Thank you, Zocor, for saying that. As I started to do research in playing Dr. Fritz in the short, I, you know, started to talk to doctors and do like what a good, you know, actor does, do a backstory, right? And quickly, the more healthcare professionals and doctors I was talking to, the more I realized, you know, 50% of doctors want to get out of the profession. They would not recommend the profession to their kids. And we all think of doctors as like, oh, you know, they've got it made. They've got an incredible job. They've got all this status and respect. But if you talk to especially a primary care doctor who's a single practitioner just running a small practice, just like you said, Emily, they are not doing well. They are generally very unhappy, burnt out. And this was before COVID, right? So this is pre-COVID. We made all this pre-COVID. So you can just imagine what they're going through now. And in order to keep a small practice in place, almost every doctor in the country has to do some kind of upcoding just to kind of pay the bills. And so then who gets caught in the middle, right? It's the patients. And so that's why I kind of wanted to write something from the perspective of the doctor, because I felt like, oh, this is where it all really starts. This is where the root of all these issues with patients really begins, is that conflict. And then once you get into a conflict, that's just ripe for narrative and comedy, hopefully.
Exactly. Hopefully.
But
right.
Oh, this is Michelle saying I had to pay $800 for a line blood draw because apparently it wasn't covered if the lab was inside a hospital. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the place you go to get procedures done. Nope, don't go there.
No.
Don't go there.
Well, and this is the other thing is they'll my mother-in-law went to the she had to go to the hospital, like life-saving surgery, like critical surgery. So she goes to an in-network hospital. That's a hospital that's in her insurance network, but she has to have emergency surgery. So that the surgeon on call that night was not in her network. So even though it's a doctor at the hospital, the surgeon, like, what was she supposed to do? Like, you know, come out of her coma and be like, I need to check if you're in network before you open me up and save my life, you know, and then I'll wait around for you to find me an in-network doctor, like, you know. But so she had this massive medical bill. And yeah, everybody seems to have a story like
But you know how it eventually gets paid is people have to go out on GoFundMe or something like that, and then the goodness and the good of people come out, and everybody's like, oh, I can chip in for this ridiculous bill just to pay off these people that.
Yeah.
And granted, like, I'm not a surgeon, I cannot save somebody's life, so I understand that they do a tremendous job. All the medical people out there, thank you so much for everything.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, and look, this is no indictment. I think this is also why I wanted to personalize Dr. Fritz. I wanted to personalize the other practitioners there. It's because honestly, if I was a doctor, I would upcode. Like anybody in the country who's like trying to run a small practice, in order to make things work, would have to do some level of upcoding just to try and, pay the bills. And so this is not, to be clear, not an indictment of the medical, profession. It is absolutely an indictment of the health insurance industry and what it forces medical practitioners into having to do.
Right.
And how we all as patients get caught in the middle. But anyway.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was all great when you're on like your parents' insurance. I remember when I was on my mom's insurance. It's amazing. I would just go to the doctor and be like, I'm kind of tired and I've been peeing a lot. And they would do all these tests. And then my mom would get the bill and be like, what did you do? And I was like, well, I just told them what was going on. Like, I was their perfect person because I was like, this is not feeling so great. They'd be like, anything else? I'd be like, I can keep going. I can find if you would like to test them.
Let me get a pen.
Yeah, let me go for it. But now I'm like, no, I'm healthy. I'm great.
And I think in the pilot, if when we drop it and the little episodes come out, you're going to see how Fritz is forced in this first episode to start, make the decision. I got to do it. And then you see how the whole process kind of works, which is really interesting. And you get to see it from our side about the coding and learning about the coding and how they get submitted to the insurance companies, which nobody knows how it works. I don't think. If some person in the medical field knows how it works, then let us know. But for Cal, I can speak for it was a very difficult process.
And then the other thing that was definitely true to life is that, as practices are trying to do more to survive, they are asking, they're trying to, especially insurance companies, they're trying to encourage practices to use nurse practitioners more. And so that conflict between doctor and nurse practitioner is like a real thing in healthcare. And so that was another reason why we wanted to kind of highlight this, this little rivalry between Dr. Trudy and Nurse Cal. It's a real thing. Like, as nurse practitioners are being asked to do more and more because insurance knows they can reimburse less money for a nurse practitioner. The primary care doctor is kind of getting pushed down a peg. And so that rivalry is a real, it's definitely real. And we wanted to kind of showcase that a little bit. And again, helps with Cal.
Yeah. And it justifies everything too. I feel like, like there's so many moments where we're having to fight to have the authority in the room, which is also just so fun to play. But like we'll see a lot more of that going back and forth, and Cal gets his moments to kind of show that there's more than meets the eye there.
Yeah.
But I think with your character too, Jerry, you have so many, there's so much depth going on with you, and there's so many reasons that you are doing what you're doing, which we find out pretty quickly, and then it will expand as well, that I really enjoy. I think it's just not, this whole thing has so many different kind of avenues that we're going into that I'm really excited to explore.
Yeah, there's a soul to it.
Yeah,
that's the thing, is that you understand why everybody's doing what they're doing, to a degree. I mean, the insurance company is one thing, but like, even from their point of view, it's, that's one thing in the world, is looking through other people's eyes before you make judgments about them is a massive thing. And, that's kind of what we're doing to bring everybody into the medical world.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Lextasy23 is saying, is it wrong that I only watched the short because of him, meaning Brian, because Brian is such a hottie? I couldn't help noticing that was an earlier comment. And no, Lextasy23, it is not wrong that you only watch the short just because of him. We all understand that Brian is a hottie. We can all just kind of, we can embrace that.
You're making me, thank you though.
Oh,
I appreciate it. But please watch the pilot, because it's great. And we're gonna, We have.
If you swooned on the short, you will swoon on the pilot with Brian. Very cute moments with an older patient that is just like
Miriam.
Miriam, oh, she's the best. She is the best. Miriam Cruz plays a patient that, Nurse Cal adores, because Nurse Cal loves every patient that comes in the room because his heart is as big as. I'll stop.
Last time when I'm there.
Exactly.
Did you guys know bilingual?
That's right.
We're working on it. Thanks to a lot of people I work with.
Nice.
Yeah.
But so the first episode drops June 8th. So this Tuesday, everyone's going to be able to see the very first of 6 episodes. And so, yeah, what we did with the pilot, just more a little background in case folks care. We had shot a 30-minute pilot originally, and we were actually planning on shooting a whole second 30-minute episode. We had a second episode written, and then COVID hit. And so we decided, all right, let's submit it to festivals and see how that goes. And we did. And we didn't get into many festivals at first, but then we got into a whole bunch. We got into, I think, 11 festivals now. We got awards at 5 of them. And so we were psyched. And we said, all right, well, even though we can't shoot anything just yet, let's put it out into the world and as a web series.
Yeah.
And we had always meant to, or we did, we wrote and shot the pilot in 5 different chapters, and then we shot another chapter. So those chapters we did very consciously, because we always knew we might have to release it as a web series in smaller bits. So what folks are going to see on June 8th is the very first chapter, which is the first, it's probably like a 6 or 7 minute webisode that kind of introduces folks to the world, and we're really excited. And then each week thereafter, we'll drop another episode, and the series will go from there for 6 weeks.
And this first part is truly just the tip of the iceberg. I think it's such a nice little introduction, but it's like, it's just a taste. That's kind of how my mom described it when she saw it. She was like, I felt like when I finally was really wanting, it stops. So it is great that, it's kind of like a little tease.
That's right. Yeah.
Real quick, what time is it dropping? Is there a certain time that it's dropping?
Yes, we're going to do noon Eastern time.
Perfect.
So noon Eastern time, 9 Pacific. And then each week thereafter. So yeah. And I was going to say something else. And folks are gonna get to know other characters in the practice. It's not just the 3 of us. We have our billing manager, Catherine, who's all over Dr. Fritz, who's played brilliantly by Julia Register, and then our amazing receptionist, Marcus Troy, who plays our receptionist. And you're gonna see he quickly will fall. Folks are gonna fall in love with Marcus because for as little lines as he has, every single time we cut to him, it's gold. So we can't wait for folks to meet him. And then there's Ainsley, the the amazing pharmaceutical rep who's constantly in our face. And she's played by Giselle Adiza, also brilliantly. So we have a whole world of really fun characters that folks are going to get to meet.
Yeah.
Last week we did a live. Sorry, go ahead.
I said, give Trudy a chance. She may seem a little hard-shelled, but it's just all an act.
Yeah, no, sure. Folks are going to love Trudy, especially as you see, the season go on and see how much she's going to really be one of the folks that helps the practice out. So.
Can I say real quick, during some test audiences, wasn't there a fine line between the 2 of us? Playing?
That was my favorite thing to do, was to go out with a little poll about who do you like better, Dr. Trudy or Nurse Cal, and it was evenly split, 50-50. Some people, and it wasn't like, oh, I really love Nurse Cal and I kind of liked Dr. Trudy. It was always oh, I love Dr. Trudy and I hated Nurse Cal, or I love Nurse Cal and I hated Dr. Trudy, which is kind of exactly what I wanted.
I was saying that's exactly what we were kind of going for. It's not necessarily you're oh, I'm gonna love this person, but I mean, you will grow to love them. I think you'll kind of go back and forth, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
You know.
I definitely want, like, you know, Team Cal and Team Trudy
Yeah.
shirts to be made at some point.
For sure.
Team Cal, stand up. Let's go.
So June 8th, and everyone check out UPCODE series. It's on YouTube. Folks can subscribe right now. It'd be awesome if you can. But look out. Definitely follow UPCODE_series. That's this one. So please follow us on Instagram. Definitely check us out June 8th. Subscribe to UPCODE series on our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Watch, subscribe, check us out. Tell your friends.
Share
tell
it,
your
yeah.
folks.
Share all the friends. Anything can help. Kind of push. So we can film way more.
Yeah.
That would be great.
We would love that, but it's a universal issue that everyone is dealing with. So we're trying to make a little bit of a light comedy out of it. Laugh at all of our expenses. So check it out. We got plenty more coming.
Michelle Scully says, love you guys. Julian Gavilana says, hotties. I couldn't agree more.
You too, Jerry. He's talking.
What'd you say?
I think he's talking to you too, Jerry. You know.
I'm just the host. Guys, thanks so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I loved every minute of collaborating with you guys. You are so talented and awesome, and it's so fun to create with you guys. And I hope everyone gets to check us out. Well, you will get to check us out, but I hope everyone tunes in June 8th to UPCODE series on YouTube. We're going to just be so excited to launch this into the world. And you'll get to see more of Dr. Trudy and Nurse Cal and Dr. Fritz.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, everyone, for tuning in.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See y'all.